Hey Explorers, I'm GOB.
And I'm Kelsey B.
And you're watching What's Happening Wednesdays. This is our weekly video series where you submit your questions to us and we'll give you a little bit of insight what it's like to be with GEOshow on the road. However, March is a very special month for us and we wanted to slow things down a little bit. It still pertains to life on the road and talk about a serious issue. One quick disclaimer for you teachers. We understand this topic may be sensitive depending on your student's age, so please watch the video and share at your discretion.
March is Endometriosis Awareness Month, and I have endometriosis. Endometriosis is an inflammatory reproductive disease that affects 178 million women in the world, and if we all banded together, we would create the 8th largest country in the world. Endometriosis is a painful condition where the tissue that would normally be inside your uterus finds its way into other parts of your body. The symptoms primarily appear when a girl has her period, but are often chronic conditions that affect a girl every single day. On average, it takes over 10 years to be fully diagnosed, and unfortunately there is no test. You have to have surgery to be diagnosed. And also, there isn't really much treatment for it. This is something that affects me every day, but especially when we're traveling, we need to be conscious of it. Each month we travel to a new country, but each month I get my period, and we have to make sure that we schedule things around that, because I'm going to have very specific limitations.
But hey, that's okay. Part of being a good team member is helping others out when they need it. And trust me, it comes back. They help you when they can. We really wanted to bring up this topic, not only because we want to spread the awareness, but also because it affects GEOshow and life on the road with us. We often get questions. We want to see more Kelsey. Where's Kelsey? And unfortunately, sometimes she's physically not able to be present on GEOshow.
In fact, as we sit here recording this video, I have a hot water bottle in my lap.
This is also an important topic for us because one of our underlying themes of GEOshow is to have a better understanding of people all over the world. And you don't always have to travel to Mexico or Indonesia to find people different than yourselves. Sometimes, in fact, you may not even know it or see it, which is exactly what endometriosis is, an invisible disease. Quite often we see someone with a broken leg or a shaved head and we can see that they're hurt and not feeling well. But we can't always see that with the invisible diseases. So we hope today you not only learn a little bit more about endometriosis, but also maybe you can become a little more aware of the people around you and recognize that sometimes they may not be feeling well. Because even though you can't see it, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Living life with endometriosis is difficult when you have a stable home, but living on the road it can be even more complicated. You saw how little we brought with us. We each have 1 or 2 backpacks, but behind me is all of the stuff that I have to carry with me just to deal with my disease. It's an inflammatory disease that affects me primarily in my hip joints and in my pelvic area, and so I actually follow a very specific diet to try and deal with some of those symptoms. I'm supposed to be on a gluten, sugar, and dairy-free diet. However, that is difficult when you have your own kitchen. It's nearly impossible when you live out of a backpack. So when I have the option, I gather as many things as I can and I hoard them and I don't share them with Brandon, and we just try our best. Because this disease affects my joints, I have a difficult time walking for long periods of time or carrying a lot of equipment. So on shoot days, we have to be really careful that we don't exceed my limits, and oftentimes we have to because it's the only way that we can continue to create GEOshow. Endometriosis is an inflammatory disease that causes the lining of the uterus to travel to other parts of your body instead of leaving your body when you get your period. That means that all of the uncomfortable symptoms that come along with having a period also happen in other parts of my body. This leads to a lot of chronic pain and nausea and all sorts of uncomfortable things that I have to deal with on a daily basis. On average, it takes 10 years to be fully diagnosed with endometriosis. Part of the reason is that there's a stigma based on periods and menstruation that people don't want to talk about. But 50% of the population has a period. And although each girl is different, there are certain symptoms that you should be looking out for. If you are vomiting during your period, that is not normal. If you are not able to walk because of the pain, that is not normal. If your period is lasting for more than a week, that is not normal. Oftentimes we are told as girls to suck it up. We're told that exercise and gym class is actually good for us. If you or your friends are experiencing these symptoms, you need to talk to your parents. You need to tell your parents that they need to take you to the doctor. And if that doctor won't take you seriously, you need them to take you to another doctor. I wasn't properly diagnosed until I was 23 years old and at my 9th gynecologist. This is a very unfortunate scenario that a lot of young girls are finding themselves in. And if you think that you may have some of these symptoms, it's important that you speak up for yourself. I'm able to use GEOshow as a platform to try and get more awareness out there. But if you don't have a voice, you need to have someone speak up for you.
Obviously, I do not have this disease. However, it still affects me. Invisible diseases don't only affect the people that are sick. It also affects their family and friends around them. I am Kelsey's family. So of course it affects me. And it affects GEOshow. But that doesn't mean we can't work around it. With a little bit of empathy and walking a little bit in someone else's shoes, we can try to understand their pain and help them along the way. Our goal is to not only spread awareness about endometriosis, but also all invisible diseases. If one of your friends or family seems a little bit off, maybe they're going through something hard and difficult. So try to understand, ask them about it. And it can be hard for someone that is not sick. It's very hard for me to understand why Kelsey can't go run up a pyramid right now. But I really want to share that with you guys. So the moral of the story is knowledge is power. And knowing about the things that you can't see is going to help you, me, and everyone around us. One of our main missions at GEOshow is to learn about other people around the world and share what we've learned with you guys. That way you can understand them a little bit more and focus on your similarities and not the differences. However, you don't have to travel halfway around the world to find someone that may be different from you. And just like we should try to understand people of different religions and backgrounds, we should also try to understand people with different levels of health. And when we do that, we have a healthier overall classroom and a healthy overall GEOshow.
While this is not always a comfortable conversation, we're really glad that we have this platform to be able to bring more awareness.
And guys, this specifically may not be an issue that affects you, but it may affect someone that you love in the future, or it may affect someone that you love now.
While symptoms can be much more complicated, I encourage you to do your own research to find out more. This is something that physically affects women, but boys, it will also affect your relationships moving forward in the world. Your mother may have it, your sister may have it, so it's important that you also do some research.
That's going to do it for this week's What's Happening Wednesday. We would love to answer your questions in the coming weeks. So go to geoshow.tv, find the questions tab in the menu bar, and submit your questions for What's Happening Wednesdays.
And remember to have some compassion. You never know what people are dealing with.
Alright Explorers, although today's topic was a little serious, we hope it helps you out in empathizing with people close to home as well as far away. And until next time, as always, keep exploring.